truth that you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison for your mind.
Greetings. Today I want to speak to you on the subject of Noah, the eighth alchemist. And this is to raise your awareness concerning how the Bible is actually a book of mind science and must be understood psychologically. Therefore, you must recognize your spiritual self, which is your inner self, to understand that the ark is being built on a spiritual foundation. And that spiritual foundation is you knowing who you are and you discovering your eternal self. That is you discovering that you are the eighth soul. And so when you look at 8, it is 2-0 intertwining itself. So it is teaching you of your eternal self, your spiritual self. And so it tells you that the earth was flooded. And this flooding of the earth is speaking of negative thought forms or error thinking. So if you would just, think for a while, you would realize that we are living in a world where there is a population explosion. We're living in a world where there's an industrial revolution that have taken place, and now we are also in a digital age, an information age, and the world is actually overflooded with information, and with this information comes a lot of negativity, error thinking. And so many people, they base their life on intellectualism. So they live more on the realm of the physical instead of the spiritual. And so in this information age where we are living, whereby you can just tune in to www.com, it's the World Wide Web. Okay, and with so much information, many people are not learning to think for themselves. Many people are not learning to analyze things for themselves. So they become less spiritual, less analytical, I should say, and less self-actualizing. Okay, so because of that, this overflooding is causing many to get drowned with all of this kind of information, and they miss the real story of salvation, which is actually self-realization. So as we see, when they were moving from agricultural age into an industrial age, we see that Neville Goddard met his mentor Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, and he taught him the secret of alchemy. He taught him how the Bible is a book of mind science and should be interpreted psychologically, and how you need to understand the Bible along with the Kabbalah. And so we're seeing this same thing is happening again, whereby history is repeating itself. And so when it speaks of Noah and the ark, you have to think about your spiritual self, and you have to build upon the foundation that you are a spirit having a human experience. So we see that the flood here is dealing with people's negative thinking, okay, or the error thinking, as I would have said before, because I'm just doing a little recap right here to go further. So when you get that kind of understanding, then you would realize when it says that Noah took his wife and his sons and so on with him in the ark, it is your spiritual principles that you would always take wherever you go with you, because everything is mental, everything is psychological, and what will follow you wherever you go, it is actually your thoughts that will follow you wherever you go. So even the story of the Christ and the disciples following the Christ, it is basically your thoughts that will follow you wherever you go. And so what followed Noah into the ark, okay, of self-discovery, and what will follow you to, as I said before, it is your spiritual principles. And so it says also that there was a pair of everything that was there with Noah gathered in the ark. And I'm saying to you, when you realize how the mind works, you realize that you have a positive and a negative, and everything represents both the positive and the negative, which is the masculine and the feminine. And so with that positive and negative, you can see the yin and the yang. You can understand also the law of polarity. So it is not too literal animal, okay, but in our mentality, okay, there is always, as I said before, the positive and the negative. And so it's very important for us to understand that it all have to do with our psyche. It all have to do with our physiology. Okay, therefore you have to look inwardly to discover that the kingdom of God is within you. And this is how you will understand the message of alchemy and know that the Bible is a book of alchemy, and how it is your own thought that is creating your reality and your personality. That is why you would be the Noah that would build your ark upon spiritual foundation of knowing who you are, and you would arise above the flood and be the overcomer and live in a new world, a new way of understanding, a new way of perceiving the world and perceiving yourself and perceiving others, a new way of thinking, okay? And so all the blessings would be yours. You will come into a place of abundance, prosperity, good health, success, all these things. You would realize that they are your birthright because you have risen above the flood. All the negative thinking, all of the distractions. Okay, so my brother, my sisters, I just want you to look at this whole story concerning Noah and understand it psychologically, understand it metaphysically, understand it esoterically, and realize that it's all about you. It's not a man who existed thousands of years ago. So when many preachers say, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be, you have to realize what is really taking place. You have to realize that wherever you go, your thoughts will always follow you, and that is what would always create your reality. Okay, so as I come to a close here, I really want you to really think more deeply. And why it says that Noah was the eighth soul. It is teaching you about your spiritual self. It is teaching you that you are to be more aware of what is taking place within you, so you will not get drowned in this information age, that you will not get drowned in the realm of amnesia, still asleep, still living in the physical realm of the five senses. So it's time for you to rise out of that realm and rise above everything that want to keep you subjugated. So it's time for you to realize that you are the Noah, and the ark is actually a spiritual self. So with that being said, my brother, my sister, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. I want to say, if this is the very first time that you listen to me, what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it really resonates with you, and you haven't subscribed already, I'm definitely encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram or you like to follow me on TikTok, you can follow me at Black Mad Guru. And if you feel strongly to support this work, remember that there's a PayPal and the link is down below. Also, you can be a part of my Patreon community if you feel led to. And if you want to do the $20 course that I have there, it's called the Inner Sun Science and Technology to Create Your Reality Consciously. And it's all about you getting in alignment with nature by discovering the sun or the light that is within you, and discovering that you are Noah and you're the one that is speaking about, and the ark is still you, it is speaking about. So if you feel strongly to listen to those videos, I definitely encourage you to do so. So at this time, I want to say peace, love you all, out.